All right. All right. So, shop stock and bench stock. It's a very, I think, controversial type conversation. Not everybody fully understands it, and even after all of the research that I've been doing, um, it's still not completely clear. That's the drag of regulations and policies because they don't put a whole lot of information in there. It's kind of interpretive. So I'm going to give you the baselines, and you take that information and you can dig into it a little bit more if you need to yourself to identify it. If you have some more input, you can put it down in the comments below. But a lot of what I have been taught over the past 19 years doesn't always apply in the same manner based off of what I've read. So, so basically everything that I've researched comes out of AR 710-2, DA PAM 710-2-2, or AR 750-1. Making sure I got the right ones because there's so many different ones. So 750-1 has, of these three, has been updated the most recent. DA PAM 710-2-2 hasn't been updated since 1998, and AR 710-2 hasn't been updated since 2008. So that's still Sam's almost old type era. So take that with a grain of salt. So the terminology, but for the basics and the comprehension is still kind of there. The biggest thing is it explains in 710-2 PLL, shop stock, and bench stock. Now, the way I've always taken it is PLL is those put together, so bench stock and shop stock. But after digging into it, now granted, this is my own comprehension and understanding of it. If I'm wrong, please point this out. But reading into it, PLL is something completely different. It is not the same as shop stock and bench stock. PLL seems to be more of the SSA's inventory. Again, I might be completely understanding this wrong, but I am giving you the information that I've read. So PLL is that. In there it says 150 lines. Now I've heard 150 lines before as applied to shop stock and bench stock. Now bench stock and shop stock are two completely different things, and they don't play into each other. So let's go ahead and just kind of like get that straight. So I'm not even going to really talk about PLL on this one because PLL does not marry up with what shop stock is, and SSL is our shop stock listing. So shop stock is what we're going to focus on, and then bench stock. So if you are in a unit that has an organic SSA, So if you have an SSA, like my unit has an organic SSA within it. So we have an SSA. We are not authorized shop stock. Now, in the event that when we deploy and the units are not co-located with that SSA, at that point they are authorized to have a shop stock. Now, where this comes into a factor is like my previous unit, where we were an engineer unit and we didn't have an SSA. At that point, we can have a shop stock. Now, the shop stock, based off of regulation, is limited to what you can organically move within your own unit. Doesn't mean that you have to use, doesn't mean you can use another unit to move you. It means you move what you bring. So there's no limitation. So you can have as much as you want as long as you can move it. Now, that can get a little excessive. The biggest problem is nobody does inventories like they should. They don't manage their shop stock like they should. So that's where this is going. This is where this kind of series is going. So at the end, you'll see a video proceeding to the next video that correlates with this. But that's beside the point. So I've written down some of the key things that I took away from the research that I found, and the key things that you need to take into consideration when you're trying to understand or determine your shop stock. So shop stock we're going to talk about first, and then we're going to talk about bench stock. So shop stock is your demand supported items. Within G-Army, which we'll go over in another video, there's MRP type codes that determine what is demand supported and what is command supported. So demand supported is something that is ordered 3 times within 180 days if you're active duty, or 360 days if you're National Guard or Reserves. So all you got to do is order it 3 times within a certain period of time. Now, talking about G-Army, where that comes in is if you're not doing a demand analysis, it's not going to really catch that. I haven't seen where it catches that, because at that point, if it's demand supported, it should have a reorder point based off the amount of times you've ordered it. So that's a different situation. You're limited to a 30-day supply of shop stock. So if you haven't, it's kind of one of those hard things to determine, but that's where you have your maintenance SMEs that will help determine what a 30-day supply should look like. That could be service kits, things of that nature, things that you go through pretty regularly, and you want to keep those on hand, because now I say service kits because service kits are expensive. We'll talk about that in a second. You're again allowed only if you're not within the footprint of the SSA, and $1,000 or less. So a service kit it can be very expensive. It can be sometimes on the threshold of that $1,000. So that's why it's kind of in that realm of shop stock versus a bench stock, because shop stock is an expensive part versus a non-expensive part, and a non-consumable, highly consumable part like bench stock is. Another criteria is small arms parts other than CIIC of U. Now, why that's important with small arm parts, because those are controlled items. A lot of times they're even serialized parts depending on what it is, like the barrel and the lower receiver are both serialized, so that is a highly controlled piece of equipment, and it's kind of sensitive to ensure that you have control of it. And then you have other parts that go into it, they're controlled items like firing pins and bolts and things of that nature. But the springs and the little fiddly parts that go within it, those are usually something that you can use as a bench stock. And then your inventory needs to be done quarterly. Now, the quarterly inventory is for bench stock and shop stock both. There's no extended period of time. It should be done within that period. But because of G-Army and how hard it is to do this, I know that a lot of you guys are probably not doing this properly. Where this is important is when you have those ICI inspections, or Comet inspections, or ForceCom, division, brigade, whatever, whoever's inspecting you, these are things they're going to be looking for. So it's important that you're doing the inventories as you are supposed to, even if your numbers don't match in G-Army, because the inventory process is a pain in the butt. It's still important that you do the inventory. All right, so now we're going to talk about bench stock. Bench stock is a little easier to navigate, a little easier to understand. The biggest thing is it's a low cost part. It's a highly consumable part, or highly used part, and it's a consumable part. That means nuts, bolts, washers, sandpaper, tubing, things of that nature, stuff that you use very rapidly, and it doesn't really cost a whole lot to replace it. I've been in units where they've been inspected by their higher command, and they tried to tell them that your bolt bins are shop stock, not bench stock. They are wrong. Now, that could be something they put in a policy and say, we don't want this to be considered bench stock. You need to make this part of your shop stock, and you need to control the use of these parts. That is highly possible, but that's not using common sense. That is very hard to control. and your ERPS clerks are going to be running like crazy trying to open the bins so that the mechanics can get in and get those bolts as frequently as they need to. So that's another story. Your shop stock is approved by the commander, whereas the bench stock is approved by your maintenance officer. So if you have an MCO, or if you have a maintenance technician, or if you have neither one of those and you have nothing more than a motor sergeant, those are the ones that will determine your bench stock and will monitor it and do not an inventory, but an analysis of it to make sure that what we're ordering, it makes sense to keep or to get rid of. You can carry small arms parts in bench stock, but you're limited to parts that have a CIIC of uniform. So that is the Controlled Inventory Item Code of uniform. And where you'll find this is in FedLog, or if you're looking at G-Army, it's the MM03. It is typically on the first or second tab. I don't really remember which one, but it's on one of those. And again, it is a quarterly inventory. The approval rate for both of these is every 6 months. So semi-annually, the commander needs to approve the shop stock, and the maintenance officer, maintenance manager, we'll say maintenance manager, needs to approve bench stock every 6 months. So I understand that that's a lot to digest, but remember, if you want to dig into this yourself and better understand it, you can look at AR 710-2, DAPAM 710-2-2, or you can look in AR 750-1. It doesn't really explain it a lot. It tells you to reference 710-2, but the biggest key thing was that it defined in there is that if you are co-located with an SSA, you are not authorized a shop stock. Now talking about your MST. So if you have an MST, so a maintenance support team that within your maintenance company goes out and supports. So this is more of in the line units like infantry. You'll have MSTs that go out and support those line units. They are authorized to have bench stock and shop stock. The key there is they have to send a daily report back to your shop office so that they can update the inventory within the system. So at that point, you need to know what you're doing and what you use at a faster rate. But the likelihood of an MST being able to carry a lot is very low. So, I mean, your numbers are going to change fairly rapidly, but you're not going to have it much on hand anyway. So it's not a big deal. Hopefully this kind of gives you a little bit better insight on shop stock, and I am trying to build towards shop stock and material management within G-Army. So this is just the first step, just making sure that you understand what shop stock is, what bench stock is, and how your unit should be managing it. So again, if you have any more questions, concerns, or if you want to add to this, or if I'm completely off the mark, comment below, let me know, call me out on it. I could be wrong, but based off what I read and understanding, this is what I got from it. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you got something from it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.